All right, welcome to the next episode of Voice AI podcast, where we discuss the future of Voice AI. Today, I'm excited to host Kumar Saurav and Anshul Shrivastava, founders of Vodex.ai. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Hello, David. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm really excited because this is the first time we are doing like a three-way podcast, uh, and let's see how that goes. But yeah, so a really short summary of what Vodex does, and feel free to correct me if I'm off somewhere. But Vodex AI is an India-based startup that builds AI voice agents for outbound, inbound calls in industries like collections, insurance, and healthcare. The use cases are lead qualification, reminders, collections, scheduling. I think the way ChatGPT describes your strengths, the strengths of your product and companies, the voice coming through your agent sounds very natural. You have a lot of CRM integrations, and you have a lot of compliance. The platform is compliant from security and other perspective. And from impact perspective, it says you have up to 7x higher connect rates and 3x better recovery rates in debt collection. I don't know how ChatGPT where it took from, but did it make sense as an intro?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sure.
It's just that that's right. We are India based, but now we are moving to US. So we have got our
Okay.
company registered in the US, and we are 100% focused on US clients. So
Nice.
yeah,
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Look, I'm always very excited to talk about like voice AI agents. Obviously, there is a lot of buzz, a bit hype as well, I guess, but a lot of growth that we are seeing from companies like Vodex. Yeah, can you provide your vision first, right? Like, what is it that you're building today, and how you envision your company, and also like what concrete exact problems are you solving for your customers today?
yeah. I can take that one maybe. So if you see where voice AI is right now, let's quickly talk about before voice AI. Let's talk about text-based chatbots. So before ChatGPT launched, like I think in November, December 2022, ChatGPT was launched. Before that, if you see, people really hated to chat with a chatbot. If you talk to a chatbot, there were a lot of buttons. You have to click on those buttons, and most of the time it was saying, "Sorry, I don't know. Sorry, could you please repeat?" It was not a very good experience. But after ChatGPT came, people started loving talking to the bot. Like the chat experience completely, changed, transformed, and people are now talking to a bot for like a very, very long time. They are talking, engaging with a chatbot. That thing has not yet happened with a voice bot. If you see, people are still not, that much loving or interested in talking to a voice bot. We say like voice bot has still not reached its inflection point. There are some consumer apps like ChatGPT, Voice AI, where people are talking. But if you talk about business perspective, if, in sense of businesses, like when you call a business or when you receive a call from business, still the experience is very poor. Like most of the time the bot doesn't understand, or the bot voice is not very human like. So that is the exact problem we are solving, we are changing. People should love talking to a voice bot more than they talk to a human. So if you see, there are a lot of problems in the voice AI today, in today's world. Latency is a very big problem. When you say something to a voice bot over phone call, you expect a response in less than 300 milliseconds. That's what a human response should ideally is, like somewhere in 300, 400 millisecond. Anything beyond that, it sounds unnatural. But today's voice bot, sometimes it takes 1 second, 1.2 second. And to be honest, it is a good response, but it's not natural for human. It is good because it takes a lot of things. If you see, right now the way voice bot is built, there is a speech to text element, there is a LLM, there is text to speech. All their multiple elements are there, and processing everything takes time. LLM itself sometimes take 300, 400 millisecond. So doing all these things, optimizing all these things, and making all sure everything responds fast, still it takes 1 second. But that is also not acceptable by humans, because response should be less than in less than 300 millisecond. Apart from that, if you see, accuracy is very much important for businesses. How good the understanding of the voice bot is. Even if there is a small misunderstanding, it can create a lot of problem, right? Hallucination is very much important. Context, is the bot understanding the right context? Is it responding? Is it understanding the data of the businesses? So a lot of problems are there that needs to be solved. So those are the challenges we have taken. And what we have said ourselves is like, let's build a stripe of voice AI. What does that mean is, there are a lot of businesses who are building CRMs, platforms, software application. For WhatsApp, for text message, there are a lot of companies which are providing API, just integrate. But for voice AI, there is very limited or almost no company which is providing an easy to integrate solution where you don't need to deal with too many things. If you think of Stripe, what did they have done? They have made taking payments super easy. If you are building a CRM, if you are building a platform, a portal, and if you have to accept payment from your customer, you don't need to talk to Visa or MasterCard or banks, to accept payment. You can just integrate Stripe and start accepting payments. Same experience we want to provide with voice AI. If you have built a CRM, a portal, and you need to communicate with your customer, you have to accept incoming call, you have to make outbound call, and you don't want to deal with, all these telcos, or you don't want to deal with LLMs or ASR and TTS. Just use Vodex API, integrate into your platform, and start accepting incoming call or outbound call. So that's what we are building.
So Anshul, is it like what's the closest company? Because there are different kinds of companies. I think different categories are being formed in the industry. Would Vapi be the closest company to what you just described, or
You can say VAPI, but even if you say, I will tell you what's the difference between VAPI and us. In VAPI, you have to figure out which LLM to use, which TTS to use, which ASR to use, and you have to decide all those things. And it is good for a developer who is building some application of top of VAPI, but a lot of businesses, they don't want to deal with all those complexities. They just want a simple plug and play solution. Still, they want to integrate that solution into their platform, but they don't want to go into too much nitty gritties. They just want the application should work perfectly and give the best experience. And the system should decide which LLM to use, which TTS, which everything should be decided by system. So that integrated end-to-end experience is what we are trying to provide. Yeah.
so
Maybe
you guys are more opinionated about how that end to end works, right? Yeah, Kumar. Like I think you mentioned that that you are also that you're investing a lot in the research. I think you mentioned speech to speech models, right? Can you elaborate like how your company sort of thinks about this from technology perspective, right? Uh, I think there's a lot of this Cascade based uh, technologies deployed, STT and then LLM and TTS. And I would like to hear your opinion. Like, is that still viable? Like, or like looking 2 years ahead, is that still viable, or it's going to be speech to speech? How are you guys thinking about this?
So thanks everyone for the question. So see, first of all, we have been in AI for last 1 decade. This is our second company exactly in voice AI. We started before GPT came into picture. So our first attempt to LLMs were Bloom models. So we understand that part, and we always thought like this was always a thought process in our head that someone should solve uh, speech to speech for us, whether Qt release, Moshi, and even GPT is releasing real time. The problem with any of these models on a larger scale is we see that these are like a byproduct of a larger vision goal, like having super intelligence, AGI, or something like that. Whereas these guys are not essentially trying to solve that problem. So it's good for an FAQ, fun conversation, other stuff. But when you have to deliver, which Anshul was mentioning, deliver a real time use case, and you need to actually solve it up at the front where human consciousness level triggers. So I give an example actually to everyone does that. Humans auditory response time is 108 on an average 187 millisecond. So if a AI agent is responding back in, say, suppose 800 millisecond to 1.2 second, by the time AI agent had responded, if it's a sales scenario, the human who is talking to AI agent has already created multiple objections in his head. So doing an actual sales, which we say that, hey, we will AI will actually, Gen AI is moving in that direction, that will change the way how the world operates. We will have a single person organization doing millions of dollars of sales. If we want to reach that in each and every field of it, sales or collections becomes a very important part of it. And there you need to have create a most natural experience. It's not only about latency as well. Like there are multiple other problem with cascading model. Like right now, imagine, David, I am doing this conversation with you over text chat. You will not feel the way I'm right now telling it to you. That's where the real conversation is very much important. And when we convert anything into text, error propagation increases, the entire acoustic value, entire emotional quotient of it, we lose there, and that is never being used. So a few companies like Ultravox and Hume, they are definitely working on models, utilizing those models so that it can generate faster response. It can understand the emotional quotient of it as well, and is much better and much easier to integrate into it. We also have the similar opinion, similar vision about it. What we see, what we understand it, like not only voice over phone call, eventually everything, every UI will be probably replaced to a voice agents in future. No one would like to go and click on something, so everyone wants a Jarvis experience, kind of a stuff. But to reach to that level, you need to be like Jarvis, and for that cascading models, we see that fails a lot. We do sell those models as of now with our company, but we know where the limitations comes into picture. The moment you increase the context length or the rag or something like that, your response time starts increasing, so more unnatural conversation. You doesn't have control over the emotions of the text to speech. Like you're guessing that should I talk happy, should I talk neutral, should I talk something. Or if you use multilingual TTS models like 11 Labs has, latency increases there as well. So you always is into a trade-off. That's what we believe in. And we recently had our research model actually, where actually instead of having a speech to text using encoding techniques, our own gen tokenizer that we trained, we were able to encode a minute long of an audio in 60 milliseconds. So it's your speech to text task is actually reduced to 60 milliseconds, and the entire end to end first token generation happens in less than 147 milliseconds. That's what we exactly are looking for, that the human interpretation of the sound and the time and emotional quotient should all come into the picture, and that's what we are working on as of now.
Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting. Like the idea that like this sort of the chat GPT moment for voice is not there. I think I agree with that. I tend to think, and I might be wrong, that this is more like a consumer side problem, like a B2C type of problem, right? Like if we want to increase voice interface in the B2C apps, I think what you're saying is super important. Do you think that's true for B2B as well? And
Yes.
like probably there are different use cases, different problem, different use cases in B2B, right? If I call like a call center, like a customer service to get an issue resolved, I'm not necessarily looking to having like a very natural voice coming from the other side as long as it solves my problem. But I guess, and so like I think what you're saying is less important in that use case, but more important in, let's say, sales, where we need to build like trust. So like there will be a bit chit chat maybe, some uh, is that thinking correct, or you think like every voice interface must be like
So,
supernatural and so?
David, you're right, but I will say that even if you have a voice AI agent that sounds robotic to you and solves a purpose for you, but everyone wants a good experience. Actually, that's what we always hear. Like we typically sells to enterprises like banks or larger financial institutions, larger collection agencies, and other stuff. The demand from even businesses is like, okay, this sounds good. I can make use of it. But what we have seen, like I will give you an example that for one of our Middle Eastern customer, they having a BNPL company, buy now pay later company as their customer. We literally trained so it was in Arabic language. Currently, without speech to speech, in the cascading model, we super optimized the speech to text engine, retrained the Llama 3.1 model, and optimize everything on the frequency side. What we seen that the BNPL company, which was earlier using non-optimized thing, they were able to collect around 45% of the money. But when we super optimized it, it become 81% within 7 days. So it's like people are feeling that, oh no, I'm talking to a real human. They are not. It's not like they are not taking it seriously. Other, of course, in customer support use cases, you want to skip the queue. Okay, you want to skip the queue. There might be people will be happy to talk with a robot. I will also be happy to talk to a robot, or my insurance claim or something like that, or getting some document like that. But the real use cases where the value need to be delivered, where the businesses will actually make money, whether sales, collections, claim processing or something like that, there you need to have a human element like that. And that's why everyone says that, hey, do this much task and transfer it to my human person. So that need to change. 2 years down the line, that need to change. And how will it change? That's what we are envisioning.
Yeah, and we have seen like expectation of people rising, even if it is a B2B use case or simple use cases. Like, let's say we had actually a customer who asked us to build a voice bot, which sales people can use, and they can just talk to the voice bot, and the voice bot will do all the entries in their CRM. So let's say salespeople has done a meeting with a customer. Now the salespeople will just call the CRM, call the voice bot, and the voice bot will understand everything and update the CRM. Now, here you can have a slightly robotic voice because it's just the salespeople updating their details into the CRM. But what we have seen is like in most cases, people expect human like voice. People expect that human like experience because at some point, maybe 1 or 2 year down the line, it will be like baseline. This is like minimum. Anything below that, people are not going to accept that. Just like that frustrating experience with text-based chatbot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we people like to adjust to new realities like this, right? Once you experience a new thing, that's your expectation.
that's
Yeah,
exactly.
I think your point that like by increasing the naturalness, increasing the latency, is gonna result in just better metrics. I think that's like a really good point. And since you see that in production with customers, yeah, I think that's very powerful. All right, so like one of the thing that I really want to understand from you guys, since you like have like real deployment in production, what are the use cases that voice bots can handle today, like with high accuracy, right? Because like there are so many problems with within like voice bots, being starting from, I think transcription is the weakest thing, because if something is transcribed wrongly, then the whole thing just gets messed up, right? And then like hallucinations, other things combined, they create a lot of reliability issues. But from your perspective, I'm sure like you're optimizing towards like finding the areas that work best for your software, right? What would this be, like collections, I guess, like scheduling, like what are the top three or five, right?
Right. So maybe I'll take that one. So first of all, Vodex is a voice AI company. So anything related to voice conversations, inbound, outbound, we are here. So we basically solve voice AI. That's the basically overall mission of the company. Now you're right. We have to choose some use cases. So when we started our company, we started with sales related use cases, and even in sales, we started with lead qualification. So the idea was like, let's say you generate thousands of leads every day. Now you need to qualify them. Not everyone is good for a salespeople to talk. So our voice AI agent can call those leads, or even not. It's just not like triggering thousands of call. What you can do is integrate Vodex into your website, and as soon as someone fills the form on your website, our AI will give a call, ask all the relevant question, qualify them, and update the CRM. This is a good fit. This is not a good fit. So lead qualification was the initial use case. Then very soon we realized that a lot of people were coming to us approaching for collections use cases, and we had done some partnership with a lot of partners who were into collections, like some call centers, some collection agencies. So we did them some partnership, and we saw some really good traction in collection space. We have one of the biggest customer right now in collection space who has signed a very big contract with us, and we have literally optimized our models for collections. Our models now understand the nuances of collection, like the compliances laws, like uh, FDCPA guidelines. So FDCPA is very important for collections, like fair debt collection practices. Plus, there are few nuances like RPC, right party contact check, and there are few other things. So we have made sure our AI understand all those things. It doesn't just randomly make any type of collection call. There are specific rules. How many times you can call in a week? Like those are some certain restriction that FDCPA provides. So we have incorporated all those things into our voice AI agent, so that you can say we have kind of verticalized into collections, but the solution can be used for other industries. So we are in talks with some of the clients. We are working with some of the clients who are into healthcare space. So for healthcare, we are doing use cases like appointment booking, appointment scheduling, or rescheduling, or post-treatment follow-up calls. So voice AI is like a horizontal thing, but specifically we are focused on financial industry and collections a lot, and yeah, open to other use cases. We are continuously exploring more use cases as we go.
I mean, every one of these use cases is huge, right, in terms of market. So I guess
Yes,
it's going to
yes,
be hard to do these huge things, but many of these huge things, I mean, over time you will do, but
absolutely,
yeah. So from my just like
absolutely.
understanding how the product works, folks, I guess there is a mode where you can give a phone number and say like, call this phone number and like this is the context, this is your goals, go and achieve your goals type of, and probably there is a CRM connection for that individual, right? uh, for their information, like that's one that's more like outbound use case. And then like probably like inbound as well, where it's like there is an IVR type situation. Is that right? Like they call in and you understand what's the intent, and let's say do appointment scheduling, stuff like that. Are these both are these the integration points, or there is more?
So yeah, David, let me take that question. So basically, we have created something like a Manus kind of a thing specifically for voice agent internally, which is like a context generator. So you might have a number of PDFs or Word documents, your website and other stuff, and you doesn't want to use all that data. Like you doesn't want your financials data to go into the voice as well. So uh, context, our context engineering tool actually creates it. If required, anyone can manually prompt it while chatting to it as well. We have actually an auto red teaming tool as well, which tries to find the edge cases. So basically, AI agent testing AI agent and tells the customer that, hey, in this loop, in this non-happy path, you are failing a lot. So these all is internally already built into the product part as well. Then what happens is that in the outbound, you were right that you just need to provide that to the context generator tool your data. It automatically generates it, it automatically tests it, it automatically shows you the errors. You need to provide more data or answers or whatsoever required, and then you just need to provide numbers. Now either you can use our platform to use it, but 100% of our customer currently use it using APIs. So Vodex is actually API first platform. So we have one single API endpoint with which you can pass the data context as well, which can give you the answers back as well, and you can trigger calls as well. One single API endpoint. It's just about where you pass the data and in what format you pass the data. And to write back into as well, we just require a webhook endpoint, which actually any CRM, any portal you will see will have a webhook endpoint. So that webhook endpoint you give it to us or that tools, and we post right back everything into it. So like right now we have integrations to Salesforce, SAP, and everything. So there we post the data back as well. In the inbound, typically what happens is that whenever the inbound number gets a call, we do a SIP to SIP connection. So basically, we have actually in-house PBX engine as well. So we automatically connect via that. Our AI agent can automatically pick up the call and can take up the conversation according to whatever context you have preset for that inbound agent.
I just wanted to add one backstory here. So when we started building Vodex, before, as Kumar mentioned, we had another company before Vodex, and in that company we used to build custom chatbots and voice bot for customers, right? And we were getting a lot of call centers, like they were asking, can you build a voice bot which can work over phone call? So we kind of hacked some solution. We used Google Sheets, and we used spreadsheet API, and we used some S3 recordings, and a very crude solution to build that solution. And we built something. It took around 20-25 days to build one single bot, and we gave it to the call center customers, and they were super happy. They were paying us. But then we started getting more and more customers, and then we realized we need to make this process simple. We need to make it super easy for customers to build these voice bots. So the idea of Vodex itself came from the idea was to make it super simple. Like, the idea was, even one's grandma should be able to build voice bot with less headache, less technical stuff. No coding should be involved. You just it should mimic the way you hire a human salespeople or human telecaller. Just like you hire a human, you give some Word document, you give some websites, you give some previous call recording, and they are ready to make calls. Right? You just give some context. Same thing should be here also. You just upload some call recording, some PDF, some Word document, some website link, some simple context, and the tool should be ready to make calls. So we have always been, very pro towards making it super simple for customers to build these voice agents.
That sounds really exciting. I'm going. I want to try your platform now. Like that's also a great sales call, guys.
Definitely,
Guys,
sure.
I want to ask like one more question. Like, yeah, when you look at like next 2-3 years, right, for your company and for the industry, what's your but trying to be realistic, right? Let's not go too crazy here. Like given like what you see in the industry from reality perspective and from your expectations, what's going to change in 2-3 years? Like how do you imagine your stripe for voice AI vision? Like where is the, from technology and experience perspective, where are we going to be?
So I think, David, actually in the start you asked that who should be the closest competitor. I believe that Vapi should be like a friend, Vapi, retail, and everyone. Basically, they are the distribution partner. Whereas where we will specialize, we are not going to create closed source solutions which will be working as a good chat agents. What we envision that very dedicated SLM. So actually, I think recently NVIDIA did a paper as well, like SLMs going to be the future. What we believe that the voice AI's SLMs will change the paradigm where task-based SLMs for voice-to-voice agents will be there, like audio-to-audio agents, speech-to-speech agents will be there, and that will be doing different tasks. I'm not saying that Vodex will be the one which will solving all the tasks. Of course, we cannot do that. It's completely unrealistic. But certain fields where we will particularly dominate, and we actually would we learn from others, people research. That's why we are also open sourcing quite a lot of stuff. Recently we open source our text to speech as well. So we are also learning from other people, and we expect that other people also build it. What, as an industry, I will say, maybe Anshul can add on top of it, is that voice AI will be I also should add this, that Gen Zs are now coming towards the decision making power. The more they grow, the age gap and everything is coming into the picture. They will be much more prone towards talking to a voice AI agent. They doesn't want to, they don't care. Their lingos are different and all. So you have to be actually in tandem of creating a future where the generation is also going, and you need to build a vision where each and everything that is happening right now in where there is a communication based channel, there should be a voice AI agent up to a limit, where there is nothing like an emergency, like someone is having a heart attack, he doesn't need to actually go through a voice agent. I hope so, even if in some cases it can, but not in larger extent. But that's what I believe. We believe that voice AI will be like a leading front of a communication. uh, Spamming will reduce a lot because of the laws that is coming, and that is very good that TCPA is mandating that you shouldn't be spamming, you should have a consent and all. That is very much important. So it shouldn't be another email tool, bulk email tool that you send the email and it lands into spam. No value delivered. So that's how we envision it. Anshul, if you would like to add
Yeah,
something.
Kumar mentioned very good point. So, as a company, our policy is not to just create nuisance with voice AI. We don't want to do cold calling and just blasting calls and all. That's not our theory. And we literally said no to a lot of client who just want to do cold call. We want to do contextual call and calls where someone is interested in talking. Like someone is interested in buying something, interested in exploring, let's say buying insurance or car or house. They want to talk to someone, and that's where our voice AI agent comes into picture. Previously, like if you see, people don't want to talk to voice AI because the experience was not good. And even sometimes they don't want to talk to human because if they call a number, they know the wait time is going to be too much. Sometimes they have to wait for 15 minutes, 30 minutes just to get connected to a human agent. So they were preferring emails and chatting, because they were expecting at least some response will get quickly. But if they can they can be sure that 100% the voice AI will pick up their call immediately without any waiting time, and it can respond in a natural human like way. It can give the response quickly, meaningful response. It can resolve their query. People will prefer talking to an AI agent. So that's what we feel like in future. People will prefer more talking to an AI, and it will be like minimum expectation. So just like every company needs to have a website right now, in future there will be minimum expectation that every company should have a voice bot, voice agent, where they can just talk, get their response back, get their work done.
Yeah, I guess like every product must have a voice sort of interface as well, right? Whenever you want to talk
Yes.
to the company, or right, like it will be just a button in the app, and you will have that
Yeah,
conversation. Uh,
button in the
Compared
app,
to that,
button on the website.
like
Yeah.
voice is like an afterthought right now in everything. Well, guys, like thank you so much for coming today. I really enjoyed the conversation. I think there were very interesting insights uh,
Like,
in this conversation. So thanks a lot for coming, and all the best of luck to Vodex. I hope you guys grow and grow in like a couple of years. We know there is Stripe for voice AI, and that's Vodex.
Thanks,
so much.
thanks,
It
man.
was really great
I have a
conversation.
lot of
Thank you for
confidence.
having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.